Political violence in Australia. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Heiser Says. I have my stein of coffee, and I thought we'd talk about some of the political violence, essentially terrorism, that has occurred here in Australia over the last few weeks, and even over the last few days at the run-up to our recent federal election. Now the Conservatives won. A miracle result. One could say maybe it's concerning that the left, Labor, seem to be drifting even more and more to the left, so they may not have learnt their lesson, but we'll see where that goes. It's a discussion for another time. Let's have a look at this tweet that was shared from Hanson from One Nation. It is amazing how the left call for tolerance all the time, but acts like they're above the law when you don't agree with their ideologies. We're seeing this more and more, everywhere. Here in Australia, we're starting to turn into America. And I know you're all going to say hashtag not all lefties, hashtag not all lefties. Yes, but on the conservative side of politics, the biggest threat you have to worry about is some LARPing idiots in the countryside. Okay? Let's have a look at what actually happened. So, a One Nation truck in Tasmania was parked while a candidate went shopping. And let's just have a look at the footage here. I'll make sure you can hear this. So is this something you expect to see in Australia? We'll just pause on that. The car there was burning, and I'll keep reading with what Pauline said. A One Nation truck in Tasmania was parked outside a shop while our Senate candidates were shopping. So they were going shopping. Someone was seen torching it before fleeing. Is this what's left for conservative politics here in Australia? Yesterday, one of our volunteers was bashed and called a white dog because he asked a man to stop wrecking our signs in Cohen. I'm concerned about where the politics is heading in this country. So that's quite a good point. And that's really concerning. This is how the Australian reported on the truck fire. Have a look. A One Nation truck branded with images of Pauline Hanson and her team has been set alight in a Hobart parking lot. The truck was parked in the Shoreline Shopping Centre car park early this evening when it was set alight. Police are investigating the incident, which is being treated as a suspicious vehicle fire, according to a Tasmanian police spokesman. I would argue that this is an act of political terrorism. If they're trying to intimidate and coerce people based on their political ideology and using violence, setting cars on fire, what would you think it is? Rather than just the police, I think they need to get the federal police involved to find out who these people are, who they're connected to. I wonder. And Pauline also mentioned the attack in Perth. So here you go. Here's some volunteers. A One Nation volunteer has been targeted in a random racist attack in Anne Alley's seat of Cohen. He was allegedly called a white dog and attacked by a violent family of 5. Police are at the scene. I mean, there you go. I mean, he's been hit on the head. They attacked the sign, apparently. We'll see what happens. But this is not normal for Australia, people. Our elections are not like this. They usually, have a few sausages. Everyone's polite at the election day. You're there with your families. You're buying stuff from the cake stall. I went to a local school, and bought the kids brownies, and they got their sugar high. I had the worst barbecued sausage that I've eaten in my life. It's all burnt and gross, but that's part of Australian democracy. Okay? That's part of Australian democracy, not this. Not this. This isn't Australian. I mean, this is terrorism. This is political intimidation. Where are we heading? What path are we going down? And this is all coming from the left side of politics, guys. This is where it's coming from. You've got CAF as well. You've got Antifa as well. You've got protesters everywhere just acting and, lashing out in violence. You see the same thing happening over in the UK. And I'll just bring it up right now. I'll find it. Sargon of Akkad. He is running as an MEP. We'll copy that image. And everywhere he's going, he's getting attacked with milkshakes. You know, oh, haha, it's milkshakes. Yes, but still, what if it's something worse? There's a lot of acid attacks in London. You know, that's part of what is involved in living a modern metropolitan city, remember? Isn't that what Sadiq Khan said? Among other things. So this is the issue. You've got people who don't want to engage in argument, don't want to engage in dialogue, so they resort to violence. And I would imagine they've got no idea what any of One Nation's policies are. I would guarantee you that they hadn't spent 9 hours going through all the different parties running in the Senate at our election. You know, I'd bet a carton on it. I would bet a carton on it. So, you know, poor guy was hit. Police are there. You know, Sargon's getting smashed all the time. And in America, it's just standard now. It's just standard. Why aren't they cracking down? You saw what happened when Stephen Molyneux and Southern came to Australia, all the violent protests that happened down there. What's going on? This isn't acceptable. This is not acceptable. These people that are doing these attacks need to be investigated. Because it may just be random attacks, but setting a car on fire, that's even worse. You know, that's psychotic. Now, it wasn't just One Nation that copped the attacks. We've had a good old Corkscrew Attack in Warringah. This was in Tony Abbott's former seat that he lost, where Get Up pushed a fortune of their money and their resources to get him out. You know, and all they probably did was make Abbott's wife happy, that she gets her husband back. So let's have a read through this article. So, Liberal election volunteer allegedly assaulted with a corkscrew at a polling station. Man charged after alleged attack on volunteer who was putting up Australia's federal election 2019 campaign material in Tony Abbott's Sydney electorate. And then he attacked him. The irate man has allegedly assaulted a Liberal volunteer with a corkscrew at a polling station in Tony Abbott's Sydney electorate on the eve of the federal election. The 62-year-old man allegedly began yelling abuse at volunteers who were putting up campaign material outside the Balgoa Heights public school just after 8 p.m. on Friday. That's the thing you've got to remember when you put all this stuff up, because I've done it. You've got to go through a whole night. It's exhausting sometimes. And you can't actually tamper with it. People are not allowed to tamper with it. It's illegal. It can only be there for a certain period of time. So we can't have political propaganda up all the time, but for a certain window you can. And if anyone tampers with it, they're breaking the law. One thing that was interesting was all the Greens, they left all their zip ties all lying all over the ground. Labor as well. You know, just clip, 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 leave it all there. Yeah, the rain will wash it away, I'm sure. Police said the man allegedly threatened an 18-year-old man before thrusting a corkscrew at a 31-year-old volunteer's stomach, causing a minor injury. He then started tearing down the banners before fleeing. So another psycho, another nutcase. What is going on in Australia? People are suffering from our version of Trump derangement syndrome. People actually, you know, saying not my president. They're having meltdowns on Twitter. It's crazy. And it's this 2-movie thing as well that Scott Adams was talking about. The exact same thing. The victim was treated by paramedics and didn't need to go to hospital. The alleged attacker was arrested at Balgoa Heights about 10:30 p.m. and taken to Manly Police Station, where he was charged with 2 counts of common assault. Fantastic. So see here in Australia, see what's happening. At least he was arrested. He was arrested. You look at Sargon, how many of his people have been arrested? You look at the people assaulting Tommy, how many of they have been arrested? You know, at least here we got him. He was arrested. The man is due to face the Manly local court on 5th of June. The contest for Warringah has seen some of the dirtiest tricks of the campaign, including a book with feces inside being dumped outside Abbott's Manly office. Former Olympian skier Silly Steggelschigen is vying to wrestle the seat, and she's won it. She's won it, we know now. But it just shows you where it's all heading here in Australia. Where it's heading in Australia. I'm happy he was arrested. We need to let's have a look at that footage again here, the fire. It'd be interesting to see if they're arrested. I mean, that's destroyed a campaign car, and it's just trying to intimidate people. You know, it's just crazy. It is just crazy. It's unacceptable in Australia, and these are acts of political violence, they're acts of terrorism. I'll be adding them to my freedom map when I get a bit more time. I'll do another live stream for that one. once I get bank a few up and put some more energy into that, because it's sad that this is starting to happen and people need to start being made aware of it. Okay? The Overton window needs to shift. I think we've bought some time with this election, but we still need to shift the dialogue more to a conservative side, more to the right side of politics, so we can have balanced discussion. I really hope Plibersek doesn't get in. I hope the left, Labour, realises that their policies were just insane and gets someone from the right faction of their party into power there, in the leadership, so there can actually be a dialogue. That's what I hope. That's what I would like to see. So, but if they keep going down that trap, if they get Plibersek in there, wage cap Plibersek, in some ways I think it'll be great, because there'll be a whole 3 years worth of great material to build a YouTube channel on and just make fun of. But I don't know if it'll be that good for the country. I don't know. Anyway, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. If you know of any other instances that have happened of political violence, even on a small scale, please let me know, because I definitely want to include them in the freedom map, because this is not acceptable in Australia, this type of behaviour. Australians are meant to be friendly at the polling booth. Even if you're handing out how-to-vote cards for different people, you're all meant to, generally are polite and friendly to each other, because you're all passionate, unless you're paid. I swear, I think some of the CA, Clive's party how-to-vote people were paid. I mean, I went up to the woman to ask her for it, because I wanted to see their card, and she was shocked. And she was not even standing at the front. She was standing far, talking to her friends. So yeah, I think that's how it was. Anyway, guys, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for joining me for this episode, and I'll see you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.